Call of Duty League, we have got some things working for you here, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for the broadcast. Just bear with us, we're just trying to get the gameplay and commentary rolling. Obviously, I'm Bryson, and me is Charles. How are you, friend?
Dude, I was listening to Feeling Like Teej in preparation for this series, so I'm actually kind of turned, and it's just an invasion. So we got to get nice and prepared, but TJ absolutely is. He is never going to stray away from the ego check.
No, it certainly is not. Let's get through on the main talk. This one off the team back in the roster for Real. Visa issues, I believe, coming through, but we'll see how it works. Obviously, we placed it last year. There's still a little bit of there that should work.
No, 100%. You get the band back together, you know? Get the old boys back in the squad. And honestly, Teej has been grinding throughout Challenger. So I actually have pretty high expectations. I mean, he's been a pro basically his entire adult and half of his child life as well. So make no mistake, Teej is a menace on the map. Already trying to get a couple cutoff kills on the rotation over towards P2. But accuracy is posted deep in the back. And TJ's going to sniff him out. At least gets the trades. A little bit of mixing it there over towards P2, though. It's going to be a bit of a 50-50 split as the fight commences.
Well, there's an opportunity maybe to get into this one. Neither team wants to hit Gwyn. He's beaming. That's 6 in a row so far. Now just cutting them to bits. Another one. That's 7. The streak is alive.
Yeah, no, Gwyn, unironically, he's been like a top 5 slayer in the game so far this year. He has actually been disgusting and not going to shy away from trying to throw the team on the back. Only 20 seconds left on this hill. GodRx's job is effectively just to try to keep them off of it. Where he falls, though, that is scrap time for Minnesota collected. On the rotation, though, Carolina got a full map spread deep on the right side. Nobody actually in time yet, though, so more gunfights before they really start to run it up.
Wow, let's see. For me right now, I think these two teams are pretty even. It's going to be about these rotations, as it is so many times on this map. And both these squads looking for this break here. Lynz looking, desperately trying to figure out if he can get through and help his teammates out. If it already finds Clay, so that's off the hill. And now Lynz looking to strike. Finds one in the back, gets the first, goes in the second, doesn't get it, but it might be just enough to give his teammates some breathing room. That doesn't happen. The Ravens still lock it down.
Yeah, just a little bit of a hiccup. I don't know if Clayster actually got wall banged or not, but Vivid takes him out of the hill, but it's all just to strip away maybe an extra 10 seconds. So 20-point gap right now. TJ gets that errant kill around the actual point. So that is a good chunk of time for Carolina there on the Showers Hill.
This for them. They just want to keep this back-to-back as well. Lynz trying to get through. This is always a dangerous place to get into. Lots of close fighting, but at the moment they are locked in. 8 seconds to go. They are in the better position. Røkkr, of course, looking for their first win in the CDL this year.
Yeah, no, and you know, maybe not a bad start, a good series for them to try to get on board. Obviously, if a team is having to make a roster swap just a few days in advance, that is a massive opportunity to get those 10 CDL points. And inside the actual hill right now, Vivid nice and posted. They had some good nades to make sure they get the break over towards this P4 hill. And I mean, more or less just big chilling up top. Not a ton of pressure getting pushed, but finally Carolina getting set up, and apparently no trophies as well. It's actually just going to be the nades that take him down, and more importantly, the spawn flip is in. TJ, either he got the spawn or on an early rotation. I think he won 2 gunfights along the way, so TJ putting in some serious work for the long term.
This is all about the battles. Into Palace we go in just a few minutes, but you can already see the setup rolling through. Money Hill, thy name is this. Can they push through? It's been very difficult to watch teams try to go through this bender. We saw yesterday, Chance, I remember, a team give up full 60. Just didn't even attempt it.
I mean, I don't think we're going to see the same thing here, but it can be absolutely brutal. I mean, if you get a wipe or even these first few kills, that is where you're going to have to chalk things up. And there's the first 2. Gwyn doing Gwyn things. Again, one of the better slayers we have in the league at the moment. This rookie right here, he has been disgusting. 15 and 4 over a minute in the hill. But it's one of those players that, again, is really trying to make a name for himself.
And name already been made. Realistically, had a good time. I know the Ravens have the best record. Has been a standout player for them. But we are seeing the blender. This is the Palace hard point, and it is brutal for any team to get to it. Now one more chance, but Gwyn will eventually fall. 16 and 5 already.
Well, funnily enough, someone got through though. Lynz actually just snuck through completely. Gwyn was watching the right side. There was a small opening, and I mean, hey, it's still good time that Carolina was able to get, but not that perfect full 60. I mean, that's honestly effectively what, a 30-point swing kind of gunfight. That's 15 seconds Minnesota get that Carolina do not. So We'll see if that little slip in the game plan sort of pays off long term. But on this rotation, accuracy good for 2, but it's like the battle for the time. Minnesota squeaking by for the moment. Those spawns, though, coming through for the Røkkr.
Yeah, Awakening just trying to hold this down, trying to look every single direction, hoping his teammates don't fall. Accuracy already falling down, opens up the doorway for him. And now Carolina Royal Ravens trying to put the squeeze on, hit every single one. Awakening finds one, not the second place to get it back as well as more players pile into this hill. But Vivid is there and he falls to do a winning place. But accuracy gets his trade. And it's been Mixy, but it's been Røkkr that held it down.
Okay, yeah, accuracy gonna follow up as well. I think TJ might have tried to switch it up and shoot somebody else, and accuracy is going to punish. I mean, that's accuracy 6 kill on this hill alone. Got slang on one side of the table. Well, accuracy has stepped it up as well. Finally gets dropped, but his team set up free and clear on this rotation. It'll be easy time right now for Awakening to sort of collect. And I mean, a 20-point game, Minnesota likely is going to take the lead here.
This is all about momentum for these teams. You can see Røkkr, they were behind by a significant margin. They have brought that right back, and with that rotation, I just don't see them doing anything wrong here. Lynz is going to find an easy kill on the God RX. It's just keeping them on the back foot. They cannot get anything going. Lynz on a 5 will eventually fall to Quinn, but maybe too little, too late. Only 34 seconds left on this point, and I don't see the Ravens getting there.
Well, I mean, they at least get a nade on the guy off time, but I mean, that's just to buy you maybe a second or two. The slang has just completely been what turned on its head. Minnesota really cranking things up. Important gunfights, even potentially for the scrap. God RX, another big one for the one-on-one, again, for like an extra 15 seconds. He's actually dragging 2 players, possibly 3 on the mini-map to fight for this old time. I mean, these players are just going to spawn back at Palace for Minnesota. It's a year and a half before they're going to be able to rotate towards them.
Well, we'll have to see. Just feel like this is really a battle for these two teams. A lot to prove. There's been a lot of negative things said for everybody out there about the performance of the players. So it's a little bit of a pride match, especially on the run of Scotland. You need that confidence to do the business when it comes to LAN. Already you can see Røkkr moving forward. They are finding the kills. They are finding the slays. Only Gwyn alive towards the back alone, but not outgunned. He finds the first, and that's opening up all the pathways he needs.
Yeah, still though, it is just deep spawns. Basically, the entire lobby just spawned at Palace on both of these teams, but the big one, Gwyn is able to connect. He was very patient with God RX for some support. So, again, maybe not a perfect hold there from Carolina, but still getting the majority of the time. They have reclaimed the lead. Admittedly, a very small one. Minnesota, though, on this rotation, it's going to be 2 players stacked directly in the hard point, but they don't have a lot of map control. They're going to have to fend off the pressure from very tight gunfights.
Røkkr trying to hold. Awakening taking a bit of a hit. He's got teammates all around him, though. This is a place to assail. They're going in for it as well. Clinton's not going to win that first gunfight. TJ will get his trade, but he is alone and will go down. And there's just no way through. It's going to be another chance for the Ravens. They will have to restack and fight their way through these corners again, Chance.
And this is like a delicate sort of fight as well. You're going to have to leave at least 1 player by Palace. It looks like number 5, Glacier, is going to be sort of taking that job and making sure there's no pressure coming through. But that's like sort of the dagger of this rotation over to Palace. You can't really put on this pressure at old times. So it's an interesting situation. You give away a massive amount of time. Minnesota's going to have a very sizable lead, but you're going into a money hill. Good news, though, for Minnesota, they can't lose here, even if they give up a full 60 on Palace. They do have a decent bit of a cushion.
They certainly do. For the Ravens, though, a little bit of stress, because you shouldn't lose this. You shouldn't really give any points away, and that's what they'll be looking to go for. Problem is, towards the end of this, they are going to need to rotate pretty heavily. Gwyn already calling in reinforcements in the form of a cruise. Just to maybe try and find somebody, finds nobody, but the Ravens have got to hold now.
Yeah, and at very least, you get the intel of like, hey, they're all B Street, nobody's coming through. Like, it makes the watching the cuts that much easier. Glacier in prime position, again, just to do as much damage, get as many kills as possible. Right now, Minnesota, no approach to the hill. I think last time it was Lynz that was able to sneak through, but a much better stranglehold on this rotation this time for Carolina. So they have to play the patient game, but if they're gonna get this full 60 on this Palace Hill, it's gonna be a fight between both of these teams. Game likely gonna be decided on P1.
FaZe has made the decision. They are moving. The Ravens have decided that's it. That's enough. We've got enough points here to go. They're trying to get away from it. Stuns in place, though. You can already see the rest of the players running through the street. They know it is all about this rotation. They have played for it. It is outnumbering here, though. Røkkr did a great job on P1 last time. Will they do it again?
Gotta get the kills. Gotta get your kills. Every gunfight is gonna set you up so well, but right now the pressure on the hill for Minnesota. Gotta wreck the front line in. Can give you one. Are the trades coming through? Not for the moment. Clayster trying to flank. He's got the Renetti in hand. Takes one down, but he's gonna get traded. It is a slaughterfest round P1.
Oh, Rex almost gets caught. Has to go in. 8 seconds left. He just has to try and contest, try and do something. His teammates are flooding forward, but they aren't close enough, and he's going to fall as well. And it is going to be the rotation that decides it. Røkkr will take the hard point off of the Ravens. And that was very much money hill to rotation. And Røkkr got so many points on P1.
Hey, yeah, I mean, look, the P1 lockdown towards them was fantastic. I think it was even an advantage. We're watching a lot of MCWs try to slide into P1 when obviously Lynz has a rival 9 in hand. So maybe the awkwardness of coming off the Palace rotation, you don't have the right gun for the right job, but that is almost a typical Carolina Royal Ravens stat line. Gwen does everything he possibly can, drops the most kills at least on his team. His damage was up there as well, but the support was simply not in. And Bryce, I don't know if you remember the moment on the first Palace Hill, it was Carolina that had the rotation early on again, should have been good for a full 60. And Lynz just walks straight through the middle of the map in between the entire setup in Carolina, gets the guy off a hill. I think he shot GodRx like in the back. And that's for the 15 seconds of scrap. And again, that's 15 seconds that Carolina does not get, that Minnesota then collects. That is like a 30-point like value gunfight, because they left the hole open on the map on the easiest hill in the game to watch. So a very painful mistake for Carolina.
Yeah, and one of the VOD reviews will certainly worry about that one. Like I said, full 60 on Palace, it's the usual setup. You do give up a good amount of time for it. It does mean you might be late to that rotation, which we did see actually towards the end of that game. But yeah, if you are just joining us for this one, obviously we are casting the game. There has been a few technical issues today, so you'll have to just kind of deal with seeing our faces, which for most people probably they'll be quite happy to not see mine. But yeah, we'll take you through. We'll get as much gameplay and commentary on stream as we can as we go through the rest of this, and then hopefully all returns to normal, smooth sailing pretty soon. But yeah, you're joining us for Ravens and Røkkr at the moment. These two teams not having a great time in the league, Chance.
Not in the slightest. And I'd say, I mean, even just looking at the stats, I know I was paying a lot of attention to the AR players of Minnesota coming into this series. Owakening, I think especially, but him and aCuRacy are, bottom 2 or bottom 3 in the league in nearly every single like main slang sort of category. And like Owakening truly has been a different player in the past 4 years compared to at least his start this year. Absolutely the player that I'm looking at to step things up for the team. At least on the Minnesota side of things. And obviously, there's been a lot of attention on GodRx on the flip side as well. Another AR player in the league that is very much struggling in the slaying categories. And we'll see how it tailspins out to the map 2 for the high-rise S&D. But the ARs, certainly a lot of attention being paid.
And I want to kind of shout out, I think Gwyn we talked about it a little bit during the game, right? We didn't get a chance to kind of break down it completely, but you said, top 5 slayer in a game, and you showed it again there. I so many times I was watching him play in and around that map, and I'm like doing everything he can. In fact, he's doing more than you would expect him to need to do, if that makes sense. Like realistically, players in those positions, 1 or 2, get traded, you put the pressure on, you're moving forward. He was finding 3, he was holding down entire points by himself. When you've got a player performing that far above, it should make everything easier on the rest of the team, right? He's opening up positions for them. In fact, we actually saw him basically solo break a hill, right? Just by playing towards the back of gas spawn. He got it. He got 2 kills. He broke the hill himself. It allowed him to get through. So it hurts when you see a player play that well, and then they still just don't get the win.
Yeah, and it really doesn't seem like he's playing 4 kills either. Like he's doing the main slaying thing when he needs to, but you're exactly right. He's also like holding the deep back and blocking spawns to set yourself up for like the shower break. So I agree. Gwyn has been the standout player, and even when the team has struggled, like there's times where like he's just a fighter. Like there's no quit in him. He does have that dog in him, so to speak. So always an interesting area to pay attention to on the mini map. High expectations, but it's also a very difficult situation right now for Carolina. Having to fill in on a player on short notice, never a fun thing to do. TJ, though, is a lethal threat, like going into the high rise. Maybe pay attention to some of the routes he's going to be taking, because I feel like he's going to be potentially given the green light in S&D. I'm not sure why you wouldn't necessarily, but, you know, figure out where he's comfortable. Let TJ go and have some fun, because when he's on point in search, you know, the double-digit games that he's collected are aplenty.
Yeah, and we're talking about Teej, right? We're talking about him coming through into this game, and I'd like to see just how he does. I mean, Teej is always going to have an element of class around him, especially in this S&D. And hey, it's not like the Ravens' record's very good at the moment. I think the last one they won was the 6-5 reversal over the Legion. So maybe, just maybe, they can improve that here.
Whether or not Teej is able to clutch up, that first blood does come through for Awakening. Cross-map frag grenade that he's able to land. The bomb, though, does go down, but the post plants on B, not the easiest to defend.
Finding Quinn, and TJ finds a huge kill there on Awakening. Oh, he's just going to get taken down in a second. Lynz checks at the right time. Joedecieves left alive. 1 versus 2. The second player will gun him, though. Lynz flies out and collects. And that will be the first round of Røkkr.
That is a very quick retake as well. You see for Lynz, 0 time wasted. TJ gets a kill. He's flying in for the trade before the smoke can even pop. Joedecieves gets a kill. Lynz is right there for the trade. So Lynz playing at the lightning speed that he needs to. And again, certainly mentioned how Awakening is struggling. He currently has the lowest S&D KD in the league by a wide margin as well. Gets 2 kills in that round and the first blood. So that is exactly what you like to see out of Big Wake.
Yeah, I know he's been the topic of conversation. He's probably the easiest way to put it for a lot of people about what's going on and trying to see if they can do better for this one. I feel like it's a lot of jumping considering we've had so little kind of sample sizes. Realistically, we haven't even hit the first major yet, and some of these players can get better over time. But always good to see Big Wake maybe hitting a bit of form. See if we can do it in the rest of the S&D. But the first blood, though, goes down to Joedecieves.
Yeah, the team's on point with their nades right now. It has been frags on the defensive end. 2 different sides of the map, and, well, Lynz's vision is perfectly fine. No trades coming through either. Gwyn certainly in an interesting spot, but he was completely exposed, and his teammate not quite watching over him in the best possible way. So odds have been evened up as this bomb leaning towards that B site.
Clayster about to go at it, but Clayster has it that time. Drills Awakening. Can't get forward. Now outnumbered. Røkkr looking to get forward from Vivid and Lynz. Lynz just checking over and over again for this information. Nobody pushing. Going to make a move.
I think he's going to be on Teej too, because Teej is just playing a corner up on site. Joedecieves is able to find a pick in the meantime, but any direction that Lynz attempts to go, somebody's going to be looking at him. As soon as he gets that kill on Clayster, Teej is able to get there and shoot him in the back. So shout out to Clayster. I'd say that round, honestly, might have just been decided by the 1v1 gunfight he took against Awakening, and Clayster's coming out on top of those. Carolina's going to be feeling good.
That's what they needed. A little bit of recovery. It's always good to remind yourself, you know, hey, don't worry about that hard point that's just gone. S&D is a very different game. Play your corners, play your ones, and get it correct. You can see here, I always wonder who's calling the breaks for these 2 teams they go through. Obviously, a little bit of strategy coming out from both of them, but straight into this next one, and I just keep thinking, is this going to be a little bit of a fairy tale for one of these 2 teams? It's no overestimation to say that they're not really fan favorites in terms of taking much of Boston, but maybe with all the practice and all the time off, they found something a little bit different.
And maybe in some of the practice, they're working on some new strats as well. You had Minnesota triple hitting B street, but on the flip side, Carolina did the exact same thing over towards A. So you get the first blood, root out the guy that's playing on that back construction area, but not actually able to go and get the bomb down just yet. So we're going to be in a mixy round, 50 seconds left on the clock, but any map control that Carolina had, they just backed up and gave it up. And unfortunately for Clayster, doesn't spot the man on the back step. Maybe he got the call out from a teammate for Spectator. Lynz, though, has been frying. He does get traded. 1v1 between the rookie and Big Wake.
And this all comes down to the right timing here. Did he see him as well? I don't know if Awakening's through. I don't know if anyone's through. It's gone back to back. Oh, my God. Røkkr win that one. But I don't know who saw what. Gwyn must not have seen him. Awakening may have caught a glimpse at the corner of his eye.
I'm telling you, neither player saw anyone. All 3 teammates of both of these players is screaming at them. You saw him turn around. Oh, please, God. That is Spectator for both of them. Yeah, that is awkwardness for sure. Carolina, the eyes. Maybe slight adjustments need to be made while live.
Well, 1v1 decided by who turns faster. A little bit of a timeout. Haven't had one of those in a while.
I mean, first time for everything. Definitely not the first time. This does happen actually fairly frequently. Not sure what's going on there. I think there's been times where you could see which team makes the request, but I might just be making that up anyway. But as it stands, Minnesota Rokkr, I mean, that 2-1 lead, Lynz has been completely on point, 5 kills just through 3 rounds. Not too shabby at all. And I think First Blood's effectively getting traded back and forth. So it's high rise, nothing too insane. One of those situations where you mantle on basically anything and you can see the entire map. So there's always going to be a lot to deal with.
Yeah, there really isn't. If you are joining us and kind of wonder what has been happening with everything so far, a few technical issues at the studio. So we are just getting things up and running, but we are on a kind of a cut back situation right now, which is why my audio was a little low when we first come into it, because we can't test something before we go live, just simply because we are using a different system. So bear with us. We'll try and get everything working very, very soon, but gameplay and the games are very, very important, and we want you to see them on time. We know people turn up for these matches. We do appreciate it, so we make sure that we could kind of get something to you so you can at least watch these players do their thing that they have been practicing for. But saying that, obviously we're in the middle of Røkkr and Ravens. If you missed the first one, Røkkr actually managed to take that in quite a close game chance, I would say, over the Ravens. And now as we go into the S&D, we've seen Røkkr be pretty good so far. Lynz standing out for them.
Absolutely, at least in the search and destroy. I know he's heating up a decent bit on the invasion hardpoint as well. For me, though, I think the bigger story was, again, quite literally just the Palace mistake that Carolina made. Close game back and forth the entire time, but, like, there are just a few hills in this game that you can't afford to mess up on at all, and if you screw it up, it's going to turn into an L. I think, like, your Karachi P2 is going to be in the same sort of conversation where, like, if you get the early rotation and, like, get the first set of kills, like, if it's not mixy when the hill pops, you should be locking it down for a substantial amount of time. And if you screw it up, that just means you are doing something wrong. But right now, I'm just paying a lot of attention to Gwen. I mean, cracked out, even just waiting for the round to start. He's figuring out that the sign above him says hello. So we're just learning as time goes.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know
on the
that.
flip side, but I mean, if we really want to like commentate the timeout screen, not a single arrow on Minnesota's moved until Vivid just spun in a circle. So I was going to say maybe it's the Minnesota timeout to orchestrate something, fix a cable. And just for what it's worth, the small technical difficulties you're talking about is a power outage. So
yeah, well,
not having power, definitely an impediment to a broadcast.
It's a minor issue.
Small one, just no
put some electricity back in the flattened rocks and we'll be sweet. But yeah, you are just joining us. This is a radio kind of broadcast for us, so you won't see us on camera during this game. But yeah, I think for me, on the run up to Boston as well, Chance, while we've got some time, while we wait for this to go forward, there is a how do I put this in the nicest possible moment? There is almost like a gap forming in the CDL, the top 4 teams versus everybody else. And
sure.
It seems like I didn't think the gap would be as big as it is apparently being. Like, you've got Ultra, you've got OpTic, you've got FaZe, and you've got New York, and there just seem to be a cut above. Is it this building of a super teams in the off season that has cemented this?
That is a sort of a likely situation, I would say. I would say New York, we still need to see a little bit more out of them. I know they have a spectacular record, but maybe just based on the form they were at last year, you're still expecting them to sort of grow a little bit. But it's just tough to tell because it's how different this conversation would be if Vegas just complete the 3-0 against OpTic yesterday, because the first couple maps, they smacked them around a little bit, especially that first Karachi hardpoint. So I think there are a lot of teams in like the quote bottom 8, as it were, that are absolutely a lethal threat. It's just a matter of stringing together, sort of like playing close to perfect Call of Duty and keeping it mistake free. And I think there's a lot of teams sort of having those issues. And there you go, Minnesota ending the game. So we're going to have to make some sort of a reset.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on the official confirmation. We are hearing it's going to be a reset, so that will come back to us in a moment. But to kind of jump on your point, I think it's interesting how the top teams from last year, with the exception of maybe Thieves, because they obviously had a complete wipe, realistically, every single one of them has tried to improve this year to build almost God squads, I would say. Realistically, you got your FaZe has always been kind of hailed as a God squad, and a lot of people were like, hey, this looks like another potential aspect of that. We know OpTic went for some very big names, right? They went for the hugest names. You know, Pred was basically one of the most sought-after players of last year, even though Seattle Surge really struggled for a good portion of the season. It's only really they're kind of their last hurrah where they look like the team we thought they were capable of, and Pred get pulled out of that, put into OpTic, and they're hoping that is the magic formula for wins this year. And I think even Ultra, right? You know, they got all the way to they wanted a major, and they got the way to the champs. They've tried to upgrade as well. You know, teams that were already great have gone, hey, we can make this even better. Who are the greatest players we can pick up? Whereas the rest of the league, obviously, a lot of them are rebuilding from scratch. So they don't have quite the same pull to pull that kind of caliber of star player.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think kind of what happened too, you know, Octane retires, LA Thieves, they split up. So a bunch of world champs become free agents and they just get distributed out to like some of the top teams. Envoy goes to Toronto. Like, it's like the quote pack-a-punch year in a sense where like Toronto were already fantastic. They picked up a world champ. Like Atlanta FaZe already fantastic. I suppose they dropped the world champ, but they also picked another world champ player up. And same thing with OpTic. They got Pred, the superstar player, the rookie of the year, had a fantastic sophomore season, and picked up Kenny, another world champ from LA Thieves. So yeah, call it the pack-a-punch here. Call it the LA Thieves split out to the top team. And then I guess Octane being the addition to the flank as well. So even the flank, this might be their pack-a-punch here.
We will see. Of course, we're just waiting for this game to get underway, and as soon as it does, it will reappear on your screens. So don't worry about it. You won't miss anything as long as you are still tuned in to the CDL. Of course, you know what I was going to bring up, actually? We were kind of talking about it earlier. There is a wonderful kind of broken down stats of potential for winners brackets today. And I think if Røkkr win this, yeah, I've got it now. If Røkkr win this, there's a 55% chance of hitting the winners bracket. If they lose it, it's only 15%. These are probabilities from Doug Lieb, I believe is the way he says. So he's kind of put these down to figure out where everybody goes. Obviously, on the other side of it, it's kind of similar for the Ravens. 53% chance if they win this, 13% if they don't. So realistically, both these two teams still a lot to play for just to get to that winners bracket.
Yes, and just to sort of summarize, it's two teams in the bottom four playing against each other. Someone's guaranteed to get the win, so whichever team towards the bottom gets that win, they're going to have an advantage in the tiebreakers, and obviously jumping up in the series count pushes them a little bit higher. So it's basically, this is the series for both of these teams to keep the dream alive. If you lose this series, you get daggered because you're losing to someone in the bottom four. And if you win, then in your final match will likely be the decider for winners bracket. So this is an incredibly important match. And the fact that CDL points are sort of like extra valuable at the start of the year, just because you want to get the ball rolling, you need to keep the good seeding. You never want to be on the back foot of like the overall standings, because being in the bottom four is a miserable spot. Roster changes start to come through, and then when you're making roster changes, it takes a little bit to get the ball rolling for like a brand new team. So it is dire. It is again incredibly important to get these early wins, and for Carolina, that just makes it a little bit extra more of the pressure they are already feeling, having to play with a substitute on short notice. Again, TJ, one of the best possible substitutes you could get for a team, especially with the chemistry he may or may not have with Clayster at the time being, but still not a fun spot. And I know it says 0-0 on the scoreline. Minnesota Rokkr currently up 2-1. If you just joined us in the past 5 seconds, had to do a reset after the score is up 2-1. So we'll try to keep that in the back of our mind.
Certainly. Well, back into it though. Vivid already getting that first blood onto Clayster. Røkkr starting off this one, how they ended the last one. More points on the board. TJ peeks onto Lynz, and Lynz gets another one. He was having a great game. I think it was 5-3 or 5-2.
6-2 now. 6-2 now. We'll keep track.
Okay. You keep track of all 8 players, Shots. I can't do that much now.
7-2. 7-2. Gonna keep the ball rolling. Accuracy from top helicopter, and I did not even see that fourth player fall. I think it might have been the final 2 kills coming in near simultaneously, but that'll be a 3-1 Minnesota Rokkr lead. And it'd be Big Wake currently sitting at 3-2. Bryson, I guess that final kill.
Wonderful. And I think Lynz is going to be the player to watch at the moment. He seems to be making a lot of the moves, the catalyst for this, for the squad. So we'll see if he can keep doing it here now they have defense. For the Ravens, it's potentially going from bad to worse. They need to find something here and to shut them down. Didn't get a single kill in that round.
And it's interesting too, because the last round of offense they had, like they bullied out the A site and had it effectively for free and just never went for the actual plant, mixing things up this time. I think Vivid, yeah, maybe a cheeky little spot, gonna actually miss the secondary jump, but this bomb is working itself over towards B as the time goes, and players have also had a difficult time seeing each other. Goddard spots him first for the first blood. Carolina out on top, 3 versus 2 for the man advantage.
A little bit taken position, but almost gets it, and he gets chowed again. Goddard and TJ both getting away with it. Nobody closing down accuracy either. Awakening making moves down all the way up the map, and does gun Goddard, but gets taken down. Back into a 1v2 for accuracy.
Yeah, bomb's gonna get planted. He's gonna be very quick on the jump up, and Brandon's got the MCW, and Gwyn gonna maybe play with his food. Nice little one pump action there. Gwyn stays alive, and accuracy on the reposition is actually able to heal up, but ends up getting caught. Both the Ravens players stack up together, and obviously they knew he was underground, covered both sides. He'll be good to go. Carolina down, but not out. A free first blood, it certainly helps things, and not quite even up the score. 3-2 still for Minnesota Rokkr.
A little bit better for them. Just actually, if he had found that first kill, it may have changed it for them a little bit. He could have been a bit more laid back. They could have played around the bomb site some more, but unfortunately just wasn't able to get those final bullets onto GodRx. I wonder how much that'll come back to haunt him. Thought he had him dead to rights.
Close, but no cigar on that front. Frags getting rained out from both teams. I think trophies are just going to eat almost everything that gets tossed. Lynz, though, that'll be his 8th kill of this game. 83 overall, and he gets the first blood. Not only does he get out, he just baits players into the line for accuracy. Next 2 are going to fall and feeling like Thieves, but maybe just feeling dead. Awakening the freebie towards the end. I mean, that is a breakdown of a round where Lynz literally flies at you, gets the first blood. His teammates over top has the coverage, and it really does not get easier than that on high-rise.
Yeah, it does not. Very fast sometimes. The teams do butt heads and go towards each other very, very quickly, but I am wondering just whether or not the Ravens, it's still 4-2, and it just feels like a really bad score for them at the moment. I'll have to see whether or not they can actually get further ahead into this, but Lynz going to be the player we're watching as we move forward into this one. And as these nades go out, it gives, even if you don't get a hit or you don't get a kill, it gives some information on where players aren't with that timing.
He's playing with almost no fear in his heart either. He is pushed all the way up B Street. Unfortunately, though, for Minnesota, a couple players have fallen, but Lynz in the aggro position. Nice little timing as he turns around. Don't know if he got the call out or if the instinct was just cranked up for him. You do have a 3 versus 3, and for Carolina, I mean, they have to worry a little bit about the Lynz pinch, so Clayster's just dialed in watching the flank, and while that's happening, be a little bit more slow action over towards A. Gwyn and GodRx potentially working together, but they don't have a lot of intel just yet. Battle on the flank potential here. Clayster, it's so close to being able to see him.
So we'll find him though this time. Just guns him down to 2 versus 2. You see Clayster repositioning here. Going to make sure he's covering the angles, checking everywhere up top, and this could be bad timing. Actually finds him, and that's an easy kill on the Clayster. GodRx left in a 1 versus 2, now chasing down the last player that he knew where they were. Hasn't found the sight out again, but loses that gunfight. They were ready and waiting. Røkkr, another round on the board.
Yeah, accuracy out here making plays. I don't think neither GodRx nor Clay is expecting accuracy to literally sprint at you and then go to hunt you down for the slide chow, but accuracy, as soon as he got the information, he just goes and makes the perfect play. So he closes the door on the round, and I think Vivid maybe had the most important kill, taking care of Gwyn around the actual A site. Carolina have had no success on offense. Minnesota, they're up 5-2. You got accuracy on a 4 spree as well. You got Lynz with, I think, maybe 8 or 9 kills. 9 kills he has so far in this game as well. One more, they'll be up 2-0.
Find anyone at this moment. Lynz sitting patient. Well, they're dancing around the doorways. Lynz, though, will find Gwyn, and that's a huge first blood. Accuracy will find the second, and Ravens now falling. 2 versus 4, and this could be for a 1 versus 4 only. TJ, and down he falls. 2-0 to Røkkr.
All right, GG. I mean, we had a power outage, and then Atlanta FaZe decided to give us one of the quickest series we have seen this year. I think Minnesota maybe attempting to fall in suit. That is a dominant search and destroy performance. I mean, everyone, I'd say on Minnesota did their job. Awakening got the, the 1 or 2 first bloods when he needed it. Vivid a couple picks here and there, but quite literally it is Lynz and accuracy that just ran the show. I mean, dominating the A side of the map, multiple rounds on offense, just working through helicopter where one guy's down low, one guy's up top, and they just simply made it look easy. Carolina might have the advantage in map number 1, but did not fight back in map number 2. Minnesota map away, just to control, and the series can be theirs.
Yeah, and it's just not a great scoreline when you look at it from this point of view. Obviously, we are missing 3 rounds, but it is one of those where you just want to try and recover from any sort of little break that you've had either side. Røkkr have had the momentum most of the way through, though, and I wonder what the Ravens are going to be feeling going into the control.
Not like Teach. I don't imagine. I think they're going to be feeling a little bit of pain. I think when you if you can win that first map, you're actually feeling fantastic and the belief really kicks in. When you lose it in a tragic fashion, that is much more difficult to regain from. And I'd say on the flip side, Minnesota Rokkr is certainly going to be playing with all of the confidence in the world now, if they weren't already before. Again, they are on the hunt for the first CDL points of the year, but they certainly have it in their sights. Again, just 1 map away.
Well, we will see how that all goes through for us. If you're just joining us and have missed it already, we've had Atlanta FaZe put Legion down very, very quickly. It was a very fast 3-0. We're going into the 3rd map control here shortly, of course. The Ravens have not got a point against Røkkr so far, as Røkkr are up 2-0, and they'll be looking to end this in the next map if they can. For Røkkr, this will, of course, be their first win in the CDL this year, Chance, and definitely going to help them out a little bit mentally.
Absolutely. And we're going to invasion control as well. So it's an interesting map as well. Anytime you get a map that is very defensive sided in control, you almost end up playing the mini game of you're just going for as many ticks as possible. So it is kind of a situation where the teams that are the best on offense, and being the best might not always mean winning the round, can go a long way, but it's going to be very difficult for any team to really set themselves apart on this map. So I'd say not the worst thing for Carolina to see. They are 1-0 on it so far this year, but obviously not a lot of data we can collect on invasion control. And on the flip side, Minnesota 0-1, and I'd say for the team, we talked about it a bit before. If the 2 ARs on Minnesota are struggling in the slaying category, invasion potentially could be a very difficult map to deal with, but it does pay off for them in the hard point, so the potential clearly there.
Yeah, I think for me, some of the biggest thing for these teams moving forward is there's still a lot of season left to go. I know people are already saying things about these teams about making the changes, and there is a mental aspect of it for these players. You've got to bear in mind that with the first major so close, that some teams will be thinking about changes. And for these players, they're well, we're playing now for our jobs. We're playing to try and do the best possible thing that we can to show that we have it in us to compete at this level. And for me, I always wonder, that the stress at this point of the season, it's got to be sky high.
It's an interesting situation too, because that is the typical pro level Call of Duty experience where there's that once the dam breaks and that first change gets made, a bunch of rosters end up making swaps. And it's especially interesting this year just because it's been talked about on the flank before, almost, or not ad nauseum, but a decent bit of the Challengers players that you can clearly see, the ones that are at the top winning the Challengers Cups at the moment. Once those guys start to get collected, then you roster moves deeper in the year get more and more difficult. So you want to be first, but at the same time, you also want to give your players and teams time to develop. On the Minnesota side of things, I just say Lynz has been looking fantastic as a rookie. Awakening is the guy that sort of has the biggest change up from years previous to this year. I just think that's the type of player you want to give a little bit more time just to hit his stride and get in form. And then, of course, on the Carolina side of things, it's just been a strange year with Real because, at the start of it, he was scrimming and playing from Spain. Then they start some league matches. He's still playing not from Spain, but still a different country than his teammates. And now, of course, a few weeks before Boston is when the sort of visa issues are settling, where the dust is settling as well, and they're having to make a substitute change. So I think Carolina Royal Ravens, they've just had a rough and mixy start to the year as well. So they're going to have to deal and think and manage a lot of different things, but That's obviously more long-term and potentially for the coaching staff short-term. You just got to focus on this map 3. Again, it is very much a situation for both of these teams in this moment. If you get this win, you have, not quite a 50-50, but effectively a 50-50 shot to potentially control your fate to get in a winner's bracket. But if you fall here, that dream might very well be dead.
It certainly might be. And the control is going to be up next. So we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back we will have the control ready to go. So don't go anywhere, keep watching the CDL, and we'll see you in just a few minutes time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are live with the control here between Carolina Royal Ravens and Minnesota Rokkr. We're flying into this one. If you are joining us, of course, Røkkr are 2-0 up. So the Ravens have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Gwyn, I was going to say, might be the guy to watch to work. I know he's been sort of the shining light for the squad, but he gets taken down, and you're basically just playing TDM at this point for Carolina. TJ's flown up the map as well, so you're pushed up aggressive, looking for some kills. TJ, unfortunate, can't get the second. Lynz is there for the trades, and sort of an interesting opening break. The idea potentially to see if you can get the kills, move over towards A, but you restabilize, go back to the standard, slow working that B site. Placer might be very aggressive, but at least the rest of Carolina players know the flank's not coming through anytime soon.
The Ravens all about just doing the fundamentals well. Get B, get the points, don't mess it up. You see the squeeze coming in from Røkkr. They're trying to just beat the back off of it, and Gwyn staying alive for his teammates. Going to fly around and get the second one as well. Still slaying and playing. And that second one is coming through, and he looks to get even another kill for it, but Clayster's trophy will blow him up.
I know, it's all good. That is unfortunate, but it's all good. They were stacking the point. They want to get this one through quickly. There's a lot of teams that maybe leave one body on the point and try to see if you can play for kills, but Carolina are just full speed ahead. A lot of pressure on the map as well. Clayster, that's his fourth kill, and he is flying, attempting to be aggressive. Lynz is going to chop him down, but you get two players right now for Carolina, at least near the point. You don't see situations like this too often, but DJ is unfortunately in between the entire team. No, finesse and get one before he gets traded. Yeah. But it's not good enough for even close to a segment getting captured. So an opportunity there, but no dice.
They got to be careful with cases going down. They don't want to get bottlenecked back into that spawn. Lynz is trying to hold the flood. His nose coming. Finds TJ as well. Got RX. Should have had him dead to rights, but hasn't managed to get Lynz there at all. And Lynz now on a 6 streak.
Yeah, well, Lynz is on a 6. Owakening is still searching for his first kill. So the tale of two different players, and Owakening gets on the board, shuts down Gwyn as well. And Lynz, at this point, I'm just expecting him to deliver. There's the 7-3, already has the cruise, and I don't know if it's Mr. TJ Halley, not the young gun anymore, but the guy that takes him down on the squad. But you're just looking at the typical setup right now on defense. Get an AR player outposted deep on this bridge, and until you weed him out, you're just going to have a miserable time. You're going to be forced to going on the deep routes, and you're taking the long routes. Guys like Lynz laying in the corner with Rival 9, playing for the freebies.
Lynz, although just going to spit on Priestahh. Reflex is coming through. And you can see again, Ravens on that minimap. They are trying to get some map control, trying to get forward for this one as well. They've won 2. If they can find another kill, there is a potential there for them as well. TJ will find accuracy with a long shot. Vivid trying to hold it down with Lynz as reinforcements for Røkkr here. But maybe it's just too many. They've been a bit too slow.
You also have him turtled up, though. Like, all the players right now on Rokkr, technically in the spot they want to be, but if you're lined up, you hope the trades are going to come through. Placer on the point, though, doesn't win the one against Vivid. Maybe just a little bit too tough. Maybe the stack a little bit too much to deal with, but interesting attempt out there from Carolina. More pressure on the A zone. That's worth celebrating, right? Pressure to potentially capture, but not a single segment actually rolls through, so... just 3 ticks there for Carolina on their offensive round. Rokkr looking to respond with at least that minimum. Or maybe a cheeky A hit. You never know.
I will say that the problem with this attacking on this map is if you get those kills, like with TJ taking down, I believe it was accuracy, you just kind of have to roll the dice and go because they are going to reinforce way quicker than you can. And now already some pressure coming through. Vivid gets the spray down, eventually finds Priestahh as well. And looks like they're going to try and put the pressure on here. They're going to go for 8.
And you got a guy inside as well. So Awakening's actually going to make it in. Accuracy going to have some cuts, and that does not last long. He just gets fried in the moment. Vivid gets red as well. GodRx gets the damage out. Vivid keeping the pressure on, though. It looks like maybe enough to be stable unless Lynz can pop off. He has been the guy, though. 1 kill for the nade. Unfortunately for him, he just gets flanked, so another interesting attempt. Unfortunately, though, no dice, and again, as you pointed out, Bryce, have to restabilize and go back to B.
Yeah, trying to stay alive, but doesn't have the health to do anything else. Only a few seconds, but Awakening will eventually get onto this point. Gunned by Gwyn, though. And Røkkr have to be a bit careful here, because the Ravens are going to try and shut this door before they can get through it.
Bryce? I can't tell if I just lost or not. That was weird. Internet thing? Hey, wait, we're good, and the players are even better. I suppose Lynz is picking up 2 around the hill. Interesting time for everyone under the sun to drop. All the players on Carolina after they do fall right back off spawn, but still on top and bottom broken. This is certainly looking like a B zone capture as Lynz is consistently trying to build himself a mixtape in this series. Phenomenal in the S&D and looking great so far here in the control as well. 16 and 7 on 5 spree. I mean, he'd be overlapping the cruise missile, so no real point to earn another one, but you're not upset if you get it.
Yeah. Lynz for the wins. It's not going for the win at the moment. Lynz is just rolling through, getting kill after kill, and Gwyn falls at the same time. He's trying to single-handedly do it. It's another pill. There's an 8 streak for him now. Continuing to move, 2 guns in hand. Player behind him gunned. Clayster's going to fall. Gwyn is on a rampage. He's going for every single player. And my goodness, if that hasn't opened the door for a tick here, nothing will. They get 1 off of that rampage, and that's it.
Well, then you just need a trophy on point. The trophy not coming through just yet, but at least Lynz on spawn with the cruise missile can give you the intel and maybe picking up an extra kill or destroy a roof. You at least get the 2nd segment, and it looked like TJ's helping him with the nade. A ridiculous round, but Awakening can't seal the deal. You still get the 2 ticks, though, and actually, more importantly, it is 16 to 7. Now make it 5 on lives. Carolina have dropped like flies, and we're going to drop a defensive round as well. Rokkr just turned up the heat, and Lynz just put on a show.
Lynz for the wins. My goodness, I said 1 tick. I was being way pessimistic about it. That was unbelievable. Turns out if you want to win an attacking round on the invasion, just kill the entire enemy team by yourself. Easy.
Yeah, not the worst way to do it. I think Minnesota, maybe that's what they were game planning for. Just Lynz, again, putting on a show. I mean, the Rookie of the Year conversation, I think, is going to be very interesting this year, but this is certainly the type of performance that means you're going to be paying a lot more attention to him in the future. 22 and 8, nothing to shy away from at all, and just struggling on the other side as they are playing with Carolina.
And now for Ravens, a little bit of just terror is probably the best way to put it. You're in a horrible position. You've got to try and win an attacking round just to stay in this series.
TJ gets chopped as well. I mean, they're playing aggressive. Like, you know, you have players all over the map right now for Carolina. GodRx even potentially. Yep, there you go with his 2 kills. I time. That's only his 5th one of the game, but he's at least putting pressure on A. Another 1v1 gunfight, and if he wins it, there's the opportunity. Vivid just slams that door shut, though, but you see sort of the idea right now for the Ravens, almost a two-front war, constantly having a little bit of pressure over towards A, forcing Røkkr to respond on defense. Obviously, that B zone got captured, easy peasy. More than 2 minutes on the clock now for Carolina to work with. A decent opportunity as far as invasion control goes.
Rex posted up and still loses the gunfight. Vivid will cut him down. Placer, though, trying to open this door. What keys has he got in his pocket? Few kills going down, but this isn't about the first few kills. You have to make successive waves. It's what Lynz did last time around as he guns Placer. And now all the corners have to be checked. Everybody has to make sure they do not falter here if you're a Ravens player.
And you see for the Ravens, too, they haven't yet sort of gone for the full wrap around for the back spawn, not taking the deep routes. They were trying to work through P1 in the right side of the map, and does not pan off in the short term. And you see Joedecieves pumping the brakes, waiting for his teammates to get in position. Now they're playing a bit more of that slow game. They are getting the kills, though, except for Joedecieves. He falls again up to the other 3 to try to make this move.
And I feel like we've seen player after player look out of this door and not really find anything. This has been looked at by Røkkr over and over again. Will find one. Needs to find the second. Joedecieves will find one himself, though. That's the 3rd round. The Ravens have found a gap. They've just got to get into the point. They are. They're going for it as well. I hope there's a trophy in there. There is. The first tick is rocketing forward. There is no time to go for it. Quinn is firing everything he's got. That's the first one down. The second tick is in, though. This could be back-to-back offensive rounds. We've not seen this on invasion, but Ravens have done it. They've done the impossible. Offense rounds for the win.
Oh, we are having a battle of the Titans right now. Offensive wins are coming in just one. And that's a full-on 4 stack as well that they were just able to successfully pull off. I think that might be the only one we see all year that is actually that perfect and that clinical of just a, dominoes falling one by one by one by one, 4-man wipe. And these score lines, by the way, are absurd. I mean, it is effectively just like the 2 SMG duos battling against each other. Maybe play an extra little shout, 12 and 17. Not ideal, but comparatively to the other ARs, not too shabby.
Well, I don't know what's going on next. Very rarely see it as well, but TJ will gun Lynz down there. Awakening gets the trade as well, and hey, I'm just happy to see some offensive wins on this map. They are rare.
You're not wrong. It's maybe going to be a rarity for this one as well. Stuff for the moment. I think I'm most just impressed the fact that TJ is the main fryer on Carolina right now. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised because, again, TJ deserves plenty of the gas. By the way, Minnesota, I mean, just a very slow approach. They haven't really stepped on the B zone too much, and now that they're here, Carolina trying to heat up the pressure just a little bit to bounce back on it, but you see sort of the coverage, accuracy on the tank. It's a lot of very specific angles, especially around this zone they're going to be dealing with. But Clay finds the timing, at least for number 1. Of course, there's another player up top, but it is scattered right now. TJ here for a couple trades, but Minnesota Rokkr potentially coming out on top of the trade fest. And let's quick make the play. Gwen prone to do it, and he does give you 2. And Minnesota Rokkr have to step back from their spawn again.
Actually will fall, but there's a lot of kills flying down here. For the Ravens, I think it's just a step back. They know they're not going to get this anymore, but TJ's doing everything he can to just keep them on the back foot. Already setting up, waiting for this. 1 minute 36 on the clock here. Røkkr will be looking to do what they did last round, but whether or not they can, if Lynz can deliver another performance, that is the question.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lynz is going to have to step things up, or not step things up, but continue an utter rampage. Pull this one off. Unfortunately, though, Key falls, and so does everybody else on Minnesota. You're getting that deep palace spawn. You got TJ again, just in that bridge position. And you can see the way Carolina are playing it. TJ's cutting off the entire map. He can just calm to his teammates, hey, just stack like B Street. They start to go mid, I can let you know. And as he falls, A Street's open. Clayster's the one picking it up, but he might be dealing with 3.
Got to be careful a little bit of timing here. In fact, the will fall, and he does. They're now going to try and get to this point, but TJ is there. He has to cut forward. He can do anything. Awakening will find one as well, but he does fall. Door closed. A reset here for Røkkr. They will have to start again.
And that's just good work by TJ, at least off spawn, to pick up the 2 players working the street and getting the damage on the second. Again, trying to flood through B, and again, you are just getting fuddled into absurd angles through and through. Not easy to pull off, but good team shots coming through to take down Tej. Maybe a small opening on the top side of the map to potentially work through some flanks. But Gwen, every single player that falls on Minnesota just sets you back an extra 15 seconds, and that is time you do not have. 20 on the clock. Minnesota, if there's any hope, they're gonna have to fly, and it is looking like a very hopeless round. Clay and Awakening exchanging some nice shots downrange, but that would be 5 on the clock. And I mean, this would be the important thing for who gets the defense in the final round. The offensive round that Minnesota win, Bryce, did they get it on lives or did they actually capture the zone?
I feel like it was the zone, but now you've thrown me through a curve.
I just remember they were up on lives like that. It was like 13 to 5.
Yeah, I feel like I saw it drop to 4. I don't think I saw it drop to 0, so I feel like it's should be Røkkr on the defense.
Well, guesswork be damned. We do get to find out. If you had said it more confidently, you could have looked like a genius at the end of this.
Yeah, but you gotta kind of hedge your bets here. You don't want to sound too confident and wrong. But I'm right, so that's what I thought the entire time. So Røkkr will have the defensive round. This means that Ravens will have to find Magic once again.
And I think for the Magic front, maybe similar to what we saw from round 1, they're spreading the map. Tej has been playing aggressive through the B street. I think, though, as you don't get the first blood, maybe not as much of an opportunity to make moves. So, yeah, he's going to stay by the objective. Not trying to push up too much, but clean shots coming through. Him and Gwen, nice little crossfire, and that's the go button. You get a couple extra kills. Now you try to put the pressure on. Again, if you ever get that wipe, you can jump over that A zone very quickly. Carolina, they're at least toying with the idea.
Yeah, Tej is hitting 31st in this game. It's like I'm back in the Pro League. I ain't leaving. Gonna try and do everything you can. Staying alive eventually will fall. Røkkr stop the potential A break. It goes back to B. The second tick will be in. And it looks like they're gonna go for this as well. Røkkr trying to put the pressure on.
Yeah, it's still like plenty of time on the game clock as well. So this has been a pretty good offensive round. Actually, the nade coming through could be a dagger. I was gonna say, you get that zone captured quickly. I mean, that's more than 2 minutes to work with. That is more than Carolina needed previously. Now they're going to be set back maybe an extra 15 seconds less that they're going to have to work with. But everybody pushed up together. TJ again leading the charge with that MCW in hand. He has been the prime man, 32 kills, leading the lobby. I'm over here thinking it's honestly criminal that he's not in the league.
He is really pulling out a performance here on this control. Exactly what they need. Fine too as well. Those are huge. Can they get across in time before those reinforcements hit? Another wave of kills is necessary. Place is trying to get in position for it. You can see now the Ravens are desperate. They just need to make this next set of kills. Trades are not good enough.
Yeah, and it's going to be individual plays as well, especially so if Awakening's getting the 2-piece. Lynz spotted Clayster jumping into rugs a little bit earlier, so Minnesota not trying to slide in and pick a random corner. They're waiting for the kills to come to them, so accuracy is posted in the back of the map, responsible for the flank. Everybody else on Røkkr, a little bit of freedom to make moves aggressively. Now some pressure on. Accuracy's been in the back of the map for a while. Gunfights you have to win if you're on Minnesota. Can't get this one away, and Clay, this is one of the longer lives we've seen in control, doing everything he can just to keep the pressure in this zone.
It doesn't want to die. This is what we talked about. Trades are not good enough. You have to stay alive in this position and get the kills to get in. And he is fighting for it with his fingernails bleeding. Unfortunately, they fall. And now with just 2 Røkkr further up on the map, they have to wait for reinforcements.
Yeah, and it's just such a long wait as well. Again, every kill that you die, it's an extra 15-second run just to get near the zone, let alone the gunfights you have to take while you're getting there. But you're at least keeping Minnesota contained. Again, they orchestrated a full 4-man white blast go-around, so they're hoping for that miracle once again with 20 seconds on the clock and the kills. I mean, they're being traded. That is devastating for Carolina. Waiting for the clutch off.
Gwyn would have to do something magical. He's not going to be able to do it with 10 seconds left to go. The Ravens will have to run and hope that Røkkr go blind. To this point, I just don't see it happening. One last tell from everybody on the team, and they fall like dominoes. And Røkkr will win this series 3-0. But silver lining, we saw 2 offensive wins.
I mean, that was a fun time and an extra silver lining. Minnesota Rokkr, congratulations, their first CDL points of the year. Again, an absolute must-win series for these guys to get. Still an opportunity for Minnesota, despite the slow start, to end up in winner's bracket. I don't think their fate is perfectly in their hands, but at least today they took care of business. Great kills back and forth. I know Lynz was popping off what felt like the entire game, but Vivid certainly caught up and was right there with them, and more so. I'd say especially so for Vivid, having 16 kills in, 2 offensive rounds? That's honestly kind of insane. Might be one of the more impressive offensive performances we've seen on this map on the year.
It really will. I will say, I think